about you, but through Christ I can do all. Stand up tall with my left foot, post up on the wall. Easy if they fall in the streets, life can get hard. Streets used to be a lot different from what man recall. Me a aim for my post like a soccer ball. Feel run the road that don't need a map at all. Babylon them want to hold me with a strap at all. But man a lion, me no Cancer nor Capricorn.
Though they want to see me fall, I'm gonna be okay. Though my back's against the wall, I'm gonna be okay. They fighting me now, I'm gonna be okay. Jehovah eyes are watching me now, I'm gonna be okay.
Welcome to Hope in the Six. I'm your host, Eddie Martinez, and today we got from Direct Your Life, Mr. Olusola. What's up, Shola?
Oh, man. Thanks so much for having me, man. How
All
you
right,
doing?
so let the audience know who you are, what you do.
Hi, everyone. I'm Olusola Olumogba. I'm a football scout. I have my own company called InstantScouting.com, and I recently started a not-for-profit that supports people in conflict with the law called Direct Your Life. And we've been working with the whole program now for some time.
All right, so we're going to get into a little brief video skit, and then we're going to get back to you.
All right, good evening, everyone.
Get off your phone.
My name is Olusola Olumogba. First, I just want to thank everyone here for taking the time to be here. It's nice. It's Sunday, it's Thursday, the weekend's here, but you guys chose to be here with us. So, just to reintroduce myself, my name is Olusola Olumogba, and I have an organization called Direct Your Life. Direct Your Life organization. What we do is we focus on mentoring people as they reintegrating back to society, either it's through the juvenile detention system, through the prison system, or through through the provincial. The provincial prison system as well too. Started volunteering at halfway house at St. Leonard's there, and the one thing I realized was that even though there's so many opportunity, there's so much ways to get back on your feet. Not everyone knows how to do that. Everyone is kind of battling having their own battles, internal battles. So 3 years ago we got that started. Started working with Salvation Army. Started working with John Howard Society, as well as many other organizations. And we've had the opportunity to work with over 200 participants in the youth and adult justice system as well. Throughout the workshop, if anyone has any questions, any concerns, I'll be available on the side. So we're doing a workshop where we have these cards and we kind of create a scenario how the future will look like. For example, how we socialize politicians, how politicians use social media, for example, to get work. Now what we're doing is we're going to if it was to continue to grow, how the future looks. If we were to lapse, how the future looks. Am I saying it right?
Yeah.
If we were to be more disciplined with big values in the government system, how would it look? If it were to transform in the future, how would that look? So a lot of it's just discussion, and in discussion we kind of discuss how it affects us, how it affects our current situations, and affects where we want to go. So that's kind of it right there. We're almost at the end of it, right?
Yeah, we're just brainstorming through some pieces, and then we're going to think a little bit about how it affects the future of criminal justice.
Yeah. So everything comes back to criminal justice.
All right, Mr. Shola, let's talk about it. Mentoring. What it means to you, and what is mentoring if the audience don't understand that.
Yeah. So mentoring, essentially what it means to me, I think mentoring is an essential part of life, period. When we're transitioning, through our journey in life, period, it's we go through that transition where we don't know what we're doing, even if it's, going from being a teenager to an adult. And having mentors, is very valuable. And just looking for mentors and being a mentor yourself. So I feel like mentoring is an essential part of life. And, what mentoring means to me, and having my own life experiences and transitioning from one area to another area. I always use mentoring as that tool, as that bridge, to help me overcome the barriers and challenges that I'm going to face as I'm transitioning. With football, as well as transitioning into working with a different population. Right. I had mentors to help me get through that process. I still have mentors as well too. So with Direct Your Life, what we do is we make sure that we're providing support, to people who will have difficulties, who are going to face these difficulties while they're re-entering back into society. Either if it's just coming out of jail, coming out of prison, going through the whole process of, going to court back and forth.
Right.
So, it's not that simple, just to, find a job,
Right.
get a house, and live a normal life. There's a
Right,
lot
right.
of mental barriers. There's a lot of social economic barriers, as well as just like, barriers that community members put on these guys. So, what we do is we provide support and mentorship for these guys while they're going through that process.
Okay. Mentorship is very important. And today's show is titled A Few Good Mentors. You know what I'm saying? So mentors is needed. I want to actually shout out to my cousin, my dad cousin. His name is Andre. When my dad was in prison, this young man came and he was young at the time, came and picked me up as a little boy, and it was so powerful for me because I'm living with my mother and I'm not in constant communication with my father except for letters from prison. So his cousin, came out of his way and go pick up his cousin's son. Brought me to the park. We was at Baisley Park, and that was in Queens, New York. We was at the park just hanging out. It was so powerful because now as an adult, I realized what the seed he sowed in my life as a male figure being there, filling that void. So mentorship is very important. Young men need to see men. Whether you are in the justice system or not, it's just good to have somebody there. I used to bring my son to the park, in Toronto, and I was the only father there. And when your kids become teenagers, they kind of like want to not hang out with pops no more or whatever. But these kids was like, is your dad coming? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And he was like, all right, come on, Dad, come. Like, you want me to come for you or for your friends? Like, are you using me right now? Like, you know what I'm saying? But I felt important. I felt like I had a responsibility now to guide these youth, even in a little small capacity of playing basketball. But they were looking to that adult figure, and now the population I serve right now, same as well as you, they looking for men. They're looking for role models. It's like filling that father void if they don't have, or just structure, big brother. So it's very important. So definitely appreciate what you're doing. Working, but like say the workshops. How effective do you see the workshops? Because the video we just played, you explained to them who you were or whatever, and then y'all sat down in a little workshop where now you were like talking about issues. What are the subject matter and how do they benefit from those type of workshops?
Well, we talk about various things in our workshops. We discuss a lot about, the challenges and barriers that we're facing. Being in jail, being in prison, kind of being confined, it brings a lot of challenges, that a lot of us aren't prepared for. Well, most of us aren't prepared for as well, too. So, when we do have these workshops, we discuss strategies. We talk strategies that, someone else with lived experience, could offer someone else that's battling something right now. We discuss, we discuss, our feelings. We do some unpacking. A lot of these guys, they don't feel comfortable talking about certain things with certain people. Right. But, when you could relate to someone who's have lived experience, someone who's overcame that, someone who's overcoming it right now, it's a totally different, type of conversation, you're having right now.
So you've been there, done that kind of thing.
Yeah, and it's it's not just simple as for me to say, I've been there, I've done that. But like I said, it's kind of bringing the community together. Right. The community together because eventually, like these challenges and barriers that these guys can't overcome, in a way, it indirectly becomes the community's problem. Right. When we see these guys who were incarcerated before, who we had the chance to work and help heal. Right. They go back into the community and they do a shooting in broad daylight, or when you see that, wow, we had these guys in custody before, we had that opportunity to help them, and we did nothing with it but make their situation worse. I think, like, especially the citizens of Toronto, the citizens in the GTA, I think, like, our consciousness, we're aware of that. We're aware that it takes a lot more than, what the political system has in store for us. We understand that it's something that we have to fix, and through the mentors and these guys coming back and sharing their experience, which is a very difficult experience, and coming back to share the experience with people who's going to benefit from that's going through right now. That's very powerful.
So pretty much the mentors now, including yourself, they have the lived experience of being in that situation, and now they're kind of showing a role model example to the clients. That's beautiful. I got a video. We're going to show another youth testimonial, and then we're going to go to a break. We'll be back after these short messages. Hope in the 6.
I'm on probation for 12 months. Robbery, plus fail to comply. Because I wouldn't listen. I kept on getting in trouble. Because of my charges, I'm on house arrest. Around my old friends because they're bad influence on me, and I want to change my life. I want to gain like work experience and like hopefully like do like a cooking program at school. After like my core stuff is done and I'm a free man, hopefully I'll go back to school or do some work. Like sports, the interest is like I play basketball and like, yeah, that's all.
Welcome to Shadow Auto.
Welcome back to Hope in the Six. I'm your host, Eddie Martinez, and today I got Mr. Olusola from Direct Your Life. Direct Your Life. Talk about that a little bit, that name. You know, why did you choose that name?
So, you know, the Direct Your Life is it's a name that my wife actually came up with.
Okay.
You know, it was when like I said, I was just like, you know, talking about the idea, you know, of supporting you know, guys who are going through the struggle of,
Right.
you know, dealing with being in conflict with the law. And you know, I was like talking to my wife, you know, like how like it could feel like, you know, like you have no direction. You know, it could feel like you're just being pulled in so many different ways. You know, it could feel like you know, at this point every day you wake up, you know, you just feel like you're just waiting to be redirected by someone else, either it's your parole officer, your probation officer, your caseworker, and you know, you just feel like you have like no direction.
Right.
And you know, she was like, direct your life. You know,
Makes sense.
Yeah, first I was like, you know, are you telling me to direct my life, or? But yeah, you know, so it, you know, and like I feel like, you know, it sticks because when we talk about direct your life, you know, it focuses on kind of taking that power, taking that control, leveraging the power that you have, because you know, even though these guys may feel hopeless, you know, there's hope.
Right.
You know, there's hope.
Hope
you know,
in the Six.
and you know, it's about leveraging that hope. And there's when we talk about leveraging hope now, you know, like hope, everything about hope is positive.
Right.
You know, and there's so much positive you can leverage there.
Right.
So you know, like direct your life, just kind of meaning, you know, just focusing on what's right.
Right.
Focusing on what you need to do. Remembering there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
Right.
You know. So yeah, direct your life. I can't think of any other like word to describe the experience.
It's to the point. It's direct, you know.
Yeah,
But it's good. The video we played before we went to the commercial break.
Yes.
The young man, I want to shout him out, Adil. He was talking about what his desires are and his situation with the law. But I want to just say congratulations to him because he successfully completed that phase of probation. You know.
Yeah.
So in his testimony, he was just saying what he want to do. He's going to cut off certain friends. He want to look into cooking, and actually he did all those things he said. So I'm proud of that, and I do want to acknowledge that. So sometimes we have testimonies from it was a while back, and you know maybe when we air it, they're probably way past it, or maybe it's in the moment. But for his situation, he's past that. He's not on probation. He's doing good. So there's light at the end of the tunnel, like you said, and for him now, he could be possibly a good mentor to now show where he been through the system, getting into trouble all the time, and now he's doing this thing. He's talking about cooking. He want to do cooking. He went to a cooking program, and he's just doing good. So this is what the audience need to see, you know, because a lot of times we just see people as just criminals and they just mess up or failures, but actually people are doing good, and we need to now put that out there, highlight it, because all we see on the news is negative, right? Bad.
Yeah.
Or somebody got shot up. This, but we're not seeing. Oh, Michael's doing well. Or Michael, you know what I mean? So this is not a platform that, with this show now. It brings that to society. Let them see what people are doing. Now you're on the show because you're pivotal in Hope in the Six. It's not about Hope program in particular. It's about what is being done out there collectively. What are people are doing, you know, in society to help reduce recidivism. So Direct Your Life, other organizations, Zero Gun Violent Movement, Community for Zero Violence. You know, everybody play a part, and now we work together. We'll definitely direct lives. We definitely you'll see results. So. It's very good, and I just wanted to shout them out. But as for, I have another video that I want to play, and I just show you in action. I want people to see, because a lot of times we could just talk, but this is real life, and it's really being done. We are in the city, we are in the communities, we are changing lives, we're making steps to progression. So check out the next video. We'll talk about it.
It was something that completely threw all my plans, off guard. It's very difficult to get to the NFL now when you can't go to the U.S. or even be in school. So I was lost, but in my case, I was very, very fortunate that I had, a great group of support. I had 3 older brothers. I had a network of people who were willing to say, yes, yes, yes. I need a new job, yes, we can get you a job. I need, some money, yes, we can get you some money. I had that, so I was very fortunate to graduate, university, get back into football, and then put myself in a position where I could, get married and start my own business like I'm doing right now. And, during my journey of getting back on my feet, I'll see people all the time, I was incarcerated with, people I lived at the halfway house with, and they didn't have the same resources I had. So for that reason, they ended up reoffending. One gentleman ended up getting murdered.
Yes, Mr. Shola. So that is the prime example of what you do in the community.
Yes.
So there's a few things that I want to talk about, which you were speaking about. I want to talk about your football experience.
Yeah.
I want to talk about your incarceration experience.
Yeah.
I want to talk about those yes people in your lives and how it helped you to navigate. So first, initially, I want to talk about now the CFL, the football thing. Talk about that. What's your football experience and the scouting?
So I got into scouting, after university. I have a football background. I grew up in Texas where football is a big deal. So it was something I love doing. When it comes to football, I love everything about football. From the fighting in the trenches, to the teamwork, and just like, and just the preparation and everything else that comes with it. There's so much I learned from the game of football. So, I was very fortunate enough to go off to university, and play football. And during my experience, I would say I was very immature. I was there were some habits that I didn't leave behind, and which led me to bouncing around from school to school. And eventually, I was 22. I ended up at the University of Western Ontario. At that point, I would say I was grounded. I was mature, but during that time when I was confused and not sure what my future in football was, I got into crime. I got into I got into selling drugs, trafficking firearms, as well as transporting drugs from the U.S. to here, and just the overall criminal lifestyle. And like I said, when I got into football, I was being greedy. I wanted to continue going to school, playing football, and continue making this money on the side, which eventually led to my incarceration, and which put me out of football. And during that time, and actually not having everything that I've had my whole life, it was my first time I wasn't in school. Me being the youngest of 4 boys, it was the first time I didn't have my brothers, I didn't have my mom. I was alone.
Okay.
I was really alone. I was I didn't know what to do. And it was people who experienced prison before, who kind of guided me through it. It was even people I met in prison. Not just other guys serving time, but correctional officers, bailiffs who seen me and seen the potential I had in me. And it was a very, very dark time in my life. It was a very confusing time in my life, but I was very fortunate to get out of prison, go back into school, get back into football, and while I was playing football in the spring, I blew out my knee. So that right there, it was another blow, because everything I worked so hard for, this time I did everything right. I stayed out of trouble. I went to school. My grades were up. I trained. I practiced everything that I needed to do, and it just didn't work out.
Right.
And I remember a few years before that, I had a serious hand injury, and me being a wide receiver, I couldn't play. I was no use, and I didn't know what to do, and that's when I got involved into crime. And you know, I found myself in this situation again.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I found myself in a situation where, you know, this is everything I worked for again.
Right.
You know, it was taken away from me, and you know, it was like I said, you know, the different thing I did this time versus what I did the time before was I talked about it.
Yes.
You know, and like I kept people close to me. You know, when I hurt my hand, I was so upset, I was so depressed that I kept everyone away from me. But you know, like this time, like I allowed people to be there for me.
Okay.
You know, and I went through the whole motions of it. You know, my teammates still supported me. You know, I still go out to the football games, so I still felt part of the team. But you know, it wasn't the same. But you know, just me sticking to football, staying around it. You know, I had some pro football tryout opportunities because I got better, and like I said, you know, let me give it one last go. That didn't work out, and that's when I became an agent. And you know, through being an agent, I realized that, you know, my real passion is scouting. And I got my first gig, you know, scouting with the Toronto Argonauts, and then that eventually led to me, like, you know, becoming my own independent scout, because I always had that entrepreneurial mindset.
Right.
So, you know, like, and during that transition, you know, I had mentors. You know, I had people, even if you know, they mentored me through the whole process or just mentored me for a moment, but you know, and just sticking with my passion, and like, you know, staying focused, and you know, having people to support me, you know, through that difficult time, as well as transitioning, you know, from being a football player to becoming a coach, then you know, start becoming an agent, then a coach/scout. You know, having mentors around, having people guide me, having people show me the ropes, really got me there. And you know, in football, like, you know, there's a lot of things you learn in football, and you know, I had to channel these, you know, feelings, channel these strategies when I was in prison about, you know, being mentally tough. About being disciplined, about being focused. You know, being incarcerated, you know, that's like every day you're faced with something that's trying to break you down. Every day, constantly, 24/7. It doesn't take a rest. You know, the whole system is trying to break you down, and you got to fight. You know, and like I said, not just, you know, what I learned, you know, in football, but you know, even having like my best friends from football come to visit me in jail, come to visit me in prison, like, you know, for me, like, even when I think about football, football has been so good to me. You know, football has been so good to me. Football has always been that safe zone for me. You know, oh, sorry, go ahead.
So yeah, no, but I understand. There's, but your passion and your experience. Yeah. So a lot of what I want to take away though is that you did have good mentors around. You know, it takes a few good mentors. You know, I mean, you got people that are passionate, because now it trickled into you now, and now you're doing the same thing. Yeah. You know, so that's all it takes is people that. But through your experience now, football is a disciplinary sport, so it kind of even give you a certain type of structure. So there was a lot of things that kind of built you to who you are today, for you to effectively help others. But unfortunately, everybody's story is not like yours. They don't have these support system. They're looking at. They're not probably not looking, but they don't. If they should look, there's no one to help them. There's nobody, because a lot of people get locked up and there's no visits. Sometimes not even mothers. You know, a youth had to say, "Hey," I said, "What can I do to help you?" He said, "Can you get my mother to come visit me?" And I'm like, "Yes, I'll do it." You know, and I worked on it, and it came to pass. But sometimes parents give up because it's the criminal lifestyle, and it's too hard to bear as a parent, single parent, or stuff like that. So you were lucky and fortunate to have that, but not everybody have that. So we now have a lot of work to do. So now to get those people that were in your similar situation, build them up, and help them to pour back in the community. But we have to go to break. We'll get back to you after these few messages. Hope in the 6 with Direct Your Life, Mr. Shola.
Hello, my name is Anisha, and I'm the production manager of TCN Network. Have you ever wanted to host your own show? Do you have a message to share? Well, you're in luck. We are looking for dynamic and unique individuals to host their own shows. We are seeking people who are committed, motivated, and energetic. Do you want to be the next Jimmy Fallon, Ellen DeGeneres, or Shane and Ryan from BuzzFeed Unsolved? Start here. Fill out the Propose a Show form on mytcntv.com. We're here to educate, support, and build the community. Can you lead by example? Go the extra mile and seek knowledge? Are you humble, disciplined, responsible, selfless, and enthusiastic? Those are our core values. And if you identify with them, you could be part of a growing network that focuses on positivity and uplifting our community. We can't wait for you to join us on TCN Network, and hope to hear from you soon.
Welcome back to Hope in the Six. I'm your host, Eddie Martinez. Today we have Mr. Shola from Direct Your Life. At this portion of the show, we always go into now, we show the little jail scenes, different prisons and jails. And we go into now, either I'll read a letter from an inmate that they wrote to me personally, and I will just share their voices and let the audience know how it feels and what the perspective of a person incarcerated. Also, we read from Cell Count. It's a news article it says for prisoners, ex-prisoners, families, and also now the audience. So I'm gonna read a portion of this article. I randomly read different people, different poems, different things, but we want to give them a voice. We don't want to stifle them because this is a part of the rehabilitative process. So I'm gonna read a article, and this is written by Kyle King. This void swallows the noise and the tears that roll down my face, victories, mistakes, triumphs, disgrace. It hurts to know that I am in need of this place. That's where all the feelings I chase go to fester. It's there I see my mother and remember in her time of need, I left her after I stressed her right to her limit to the void. Is where those feelings are living. It takes and takes. I'm giving and giving. Willing, so willing, thinking it's helping. This game is called death, and I've been dealt in. High stakes, but death is welcome. How can I appreciate life when I have never had one? There is no way to escape the void is my destiny. All right, shout out to Kyle King. This is from different inmates or people when they were incarcerated. They wrote these stories. They're just expressing their perspective. So that's a little poem, and I hope I did it justice because you don't know how they rhyme it and word it, right? Because they have their own personal emotions attached to it and stuff like that. So I'm just reading it verbatim, but it's just to give them a voice, and hopefully it resonates with society. Now, a lot of these people are accused of bad things, and like I said many times on the show, we're not trying to justify criminals or make them look good, like, you know what I'm saying? But we are trying to help. You understand what I'm saying? So people are crying out. People are trying to change. And my first show, I talked about me calling myself the Dying Thief as my hip hop artistry, my rap name or whatever. I use that to talk about the metaphors. You got three people from a biblical perspective. You had Christ who was innocent, then you had the two thieves. One of the two thieves didn't care. He's like, kill me, whatever. The next one was remorseful. So you see the justice system carried three types of people, and we really don't know who they are. We don't know who's the innocent in jail, who's wrongfully accused. We probably know the guilty because they probably boasting in it. Like, I'm a gangster, I don't care. But then there's another one, too, that's trying to change, like, help me. So with that said, now, these people, when they're writing these things and trying to reach out for help and express themselves, is very important. And recently we had Poonam. She is a mental health worker, and she dealt with anger management. And she said in the episode, she was saying, they just want to be heard. And you talked about just now. You talked about you get to voice your story. You get to talk. You was able to vent. A lot of people are incarcerated and they're locked up. They can't express themselves. They don't even have no one to write. Nobody's writing them. Some of the letters I read, they said, "Oh, I just realized that I have no friends." He talked about the void, the pain to his mother, and all these things. So it's very deep, man. But this is a wonderful platform. Shout out to TCN because they give me this platform. Now I could express. So it's not only me, it's the voices of those incarcerated, it's the voices of the people on the streets, it's the voices of you, it's the voices of everyone. This is how we're gonna make Toronto a safer place. This is how we're gonna get a breakthrough, and I believe that. So back to you now. Yes. You talked about being locked up though. Like, let's talk about that, because looking at you, you look so sophisticated and articulate. You are articulate, and you're like they would call a perfect gentleman. You know what I'm saying? So to say selling drugs you are claiming in the, you know what I mean? Those, but that's very good, because a lot of people, just when you talk about criminal and crime records and stuff like that, even a criminal record, they would like, oh my God, he's a criminal, and they can't see past that. But when they see you like this, they said, oh, they wouldn't even know. So what the people need to know, society needs to know, that you can't judge a book by a cover, because you'd be so surprised. Oh, this man with a company, Direct Your Life. Oh, he's an ex-offender. Whoa, you know what I'm saying? So people need to give a chance. You know what I'm saying? And that's what your drive is about with the mentorship, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like, I find it's two ways. Mm-hmm. I find that, like, when it comes to society and their views on people in conflict with the law, they're not educated, which adds to the stigma.
Yes.
Which adds to the discrimination. You know, the difference between like a lot of like, you know, people with a criminal record and everyone else is, you know, when they face some sort of traumatic event or something that was too much for them, they didn't have anyone there.
Right.
You know, when we take a look at like the population that we work with, you know, over 80% of the male prison population, you know, they didn't make it past, you know, grade 12, and over 70% didn't make it past grade 8. You know, so we're dealing with people who lack education, people who have mental health issues, substance abuse issues, and you know, for me, like my experience of jail and prison, like you know, when I first went in, because that was my only time ever getting in trouble with the law. I'm thinking it's going to be like how it is on TV. You know, it was a completely different, you know, experience. Something that it was a very surreal experience. You know, like for me, like being incarcerated was, you know, it was the saddest place I've ever been in, and it was the happiest place I've ever been in.
Okay,
you know, at the same time.
Right.
It's a very, very, you know.
Elaborate on that a little bit.
So,
it's
you know,
happy and sad at the same time. What's the happy part?
You know, the happy part is like, you know, having like a breakthrough. Like I remember prior to me being incarcerated, I was already dealing with like some internal issues. You know, and being there finally like having no noise, being left with myself, being left with my thoughts. I was able to, you know, start to unpack things, start to like, you know, deal with things, and like I was able to deal with the things that I wouldn't have been dealing with if I was out there, because there's so many distractions. So you know, and then like, you know, it being the sad part, you're away from everybody. You know, life stops for you. You know, you have to wait maybe a year or two to do something that you want to do right now. You know, and you know, there's all these things, but you know, within that, you know, you learn stuff. You learn patience. You learn to be patient with yourself. And you know, when we talk about being incarcerated, you know, a lot of people forget life still happens. And you know, I remember you know, about 2-3 weeks into my incarceration, there was another inmate. His son died, you know, in the community, and you know, I just remember thinking to myself, like, how do you start to deal with that? And then second, how do you start to deal with that while you're incarcerated? You know, and you know, what ended up happening was, you know, you seen a lot of like guys rally up to support this guy. And you know, that's not something that, you know, people talk about in jails and prisons, how like these guys come together and help them.
Definitely.
You know, and it was like I said, it was a weird experience because, you know, you see everyone showing love. It has nothing to do with them. And you know, it shows you that humanity to people in there. You know, and you know, by like I said, by me like seeing this, you know, like it was almost like I realized that, you know, like these people aren't who, you know, society tells us that they are.
Some of them they're not just bad. I talked about me being a correctional officer time past, and I used to judge everybody by their record sheet that's in front of me in the book or on the computer. And I'm like, oh my God, he killed this, he did that, he did that. And actually, after I start to work with them time and time, then I start to realize they're just human with flaws like every one of us. You know what I mean? Just some of us are not caught or not, you know, went to a certain extreme, but we all just human. And that's what we want to now. This show is to humanize people. You know what I'm saying? Not justifying their action, because as you said, when people get incarcerated, you give them a time of reflection. And that's why mentors now, going into the jails and prisons, you know what I mean, or meeting them halfway is very good, because now that's where they're most vulnerable. That's when they start to think like, oh my God, I really don't have no friends. And the reality kicks in when they get to sit down and think. But while you're on the street, everything going and you don't even know what's real or not. You don't know who's real or not. When you're locked up now, nobody writing you, nobody's sending money on your canteen, nobody's checking you, nobody's nothing. You understand? Because a lot of guys say, oh, my girl left me. Children Aid Society come in, kids are taken away. So a lot of bad happened there too. You know what I'm saying? But the girl leaving is very sad. You know what I'm saying? It hurts people like, oh my God, and I'm locked up.
That's a major support system.
So these are the things now, you know. But one thing I want to talk about what you said earlier when you talked about the video we talked about you in football. You talking about you couldn't travel. You know what I'm saying? Because of criminal record. What I want the viewers to know, or those that are street thugs or gangsters or whatever those people are on the street, I want them to know that for one, you need to have a fallback plan. Not just a career like in sports, like if you're a basketball, footballer, you're good at something, go for it. You know what I'm saying? But you can get injured, and that will mess you up. So you need a fallback plan. A lot of people, music, rap, that's sports or rap is a stigma for black people. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I mean, but in reality, that is an escape. It saved a lot of families. You know what I'm saying? However, there's the hothead situation, like, you know, your pride. Sometimes you're a star player and whatever. You know, that's when people get charges too. They don't think about if, you know, this football player is charged for rape or sexual assault. Now he's locked up, his career's over. You know how many times you see that on the news and social media? So I want people to now discipline themselves, even in you being good at your skill. Don't be all bossy. You know what I'm saying? Have a backup plan. Because I'm a rapper. I'm from Toronto, and I'm doing this, and I'm like, what I mean, it might not last. You know what I'm saying? You probably be a hit today, and then tomorrow you're nothing. Have a backup plan. Make sure you get your education. That if this doesn't work out, you know, you have something too. Not only that, thinking about being a rapper, and a lot of times gangsterism or gangster life is associated with it, right? So you call them gangster rappers or street rappers. But that criminal record will mess you up. So now you a rapper and you got a charge and you think you a thug because your man's them bust guns. But now you can't travel nowhere. So now you got to stay within the country because you can't go to America. Similar to you with the football thing, you can't travel no more. So you blocking your own career. People got to think about these things. And that's why now when we come in as mentors, we can kind of bring it to them. Let them know because I'm in my zone. I'm not thinking. I'm just looking straight ahead. I don't see. So it needs us. People with experience, education, to now navigate. But we're going to go to a break, and we'll be back in a short moment. Hope in the 6.
Are you retiring smart? Make your home's equity work for you. With your home's equity and our 30 years of experience, the Retire Smart Properties team can help you achieve the quality of life you've always wanted. Our services are 360 degrees. We'll give you advice, take care of staging and selling, and help you find the perfect home and community to transition to. It's time to enjoy the retirement lifestyle you deserve. Visit our website today to learn how you can use your home to retire comfortably. The Retire Smart Properties team, powered by RE/MAX West.
Welcome back to Hope in the 6. I'm your host, Eddie Martinez, and today we got Shola from Direct Your Life, and we're talking about a few good mentors. And I say mentors because I want you to know that is like men is a responsibility of the men. Shout out to all the women, that have been doing their thing for years. You know what I'm saying? They've been working overtime. And we kind of been slacking up, and we now have to step in as men and now take back the community, take back the, restore the families and build up. So we're gonna go into another video and show you in action. 'Cause I like seeing you in action. It let people know that we're really doing things and different subject matter. So we're gonna go into one more video.
On the value that you're bringing, you know what I mean? Focus on the value in the sense of just speak to your strengths. Like own the words that you're using. Like sometimes I know we can get nervous if we try to say a bunch of stuff, but just like I said, just focus on your strengths. Like I said, attendance. Like some of warehouse jobs, because that's a common thing. People just come in and stop going. Show them that you're responsible and that they can count on you. You know what I mean? Like if they even sometimes they may just ask you a question just to ask you, still say yes. You know what I'm saying? Still say yes, I'll do that. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I always tell people, get your foot in the door and then worry about everything else after.
That's what I'm trying to do right now. Now I'm worried about all.
Yeah, give them a firm handshake, look them in the eye. After the interview, thank them for their time. Thank them for their time. If they have a business card, ask them for the business card.
And I ask about, which days or when do I get a reply back, or how should I contact or figure out? Or is that pushing it too far?
No. There's a way to ask. After when the interview is done, ask them, what's the next step?
Well, that's good to see you in action, and I want to really talk about this because there's so many different subject matter when it's mentoring. It's not just one thing, right? But this now is you were talking about job preparation, and you were kind of talking about confidence and trying to get this young man, where he needs to be for his interview, and get him his job readiness. We got job developers that deal with that too, but this is more intimate and kind of getting into the nitty gritty of it. So talk about that a little bit, confidence and the lack thereof.
Yeah, well, in trying to get a job, while you have a criminal record, in a country that, makes it difficult for you to get a job. You could easily lose confidence, in the idea of it, and having a job with some form of income is important, in this, and that's something that a lot of people with criminal records face, in Canada. So it's a unique journey. It's not something that anyone could just teach you how to do, and it's something that I wouldn't even have known if I didn't go through it myself. In going through my own self, like I had a university degree, a grad certificate, and I still couldn't find work. I was still subject to working minimum wage jobs,
right.
Not because I was underqualified, but because I had a criminal record. And and when we talk about job seeking, a lot of it goes back to having confidence. Having confidence that eventually, like, that one opportunity will come, and it will come. It will come. And so when we talk with the guys, we more like our job prep workshops are different from the average, job prep shop. We're talking about advocating for yourself, how to answer questions, if they ask about your criminal record, knowing what questions they can ask and what they can ask, because a lot of people don't realize that, you have rights.
Right.
You have rights, and we forget to exercise these rights, and
Right.
a lot of the time it puts the job seeker at a disadvantage because they don't know what to think. They don't know if they're lying or if they should tell them yes or no.
Right, definitely.
And then even like if they try to confront them with saying, you can't say that to me, you automatically may lose that job right then and there.
Yes,
So it's not a simple situation. So like and you can easily get discouraged.
Right. Let me say something into that. Yeah. So for the audience, because sometimes we probably lose them.
Yeah.
So you just mentioned about like certain things you could say, but you might not get a job.
Yeah.
Say an employer say, well, have you been convicted of a criminal charge or something like that? Have you ever been convicted of a felony or whatever? Just in regards to criminal records, have you ever been convicted? Now I'm the person seeking the job and say, according to my rights, you can't ask me that. I won't get a job.
Yeah.
So even if that is my right and I still say it, then that still could determine the factor of me getting a job. So because me saying that those are still, though I have the rights, it's still a barrier, because now when that subject come up, how do I answer that? You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to highlight that a little bit because the audience needs to see that it's not just a clean cut, right? So continue. Sorry.
Yeah, and like I don't think there's any right or wrong answer for it, because like at the end of the day, just because you exercise that right, doesn't mean you get the job. But at the same time, like, if you are going to say something like that, like, and, it's, like, I found myself in situations where I did explain myself because, I felt that my experience, I was able to connect it to the job.
Right.
Either if it was, saying how I'm a hard worker, I'm patient, et cetera. So, it wouldn't be just something as simple as, saying, I don't, that's my right. Because at that point, it becomes defensive.
Yes.
So, it's not, like I said, even though like we have that right, it's still up to the employer's decision if they want to bring you on or not. But the thing is that there are people out there who will understand and who will look at the the person for who they are, and still bring you on. So like I said, in my case, like I was very fortunate enough to have people who overlooked that, take me for my word and give me that opportunity, and I ran with it. And when we talk to these guys about it, like we talk about taking advantage of opportunities.
Yes.
Because sometimes, like, having that good reference, will help as well too.
Right.
So when you do have, a job interview and someone does say, yeah, you have a criminal record, but you could say, instead of this is my right, yes, but I worked here and this is a reference, personal character reference. It may help, it may not help, but at that point, it's giving yourself a chance.
It's not really a lot of options. But at this point, I want to go to a portion of the Hope in the Six show, where we now do a segment called Bars for Bars. Jason, a.k.a. Jason Fresh, he's out in the streets, and he deal with the youth on the outside. And this is kind of a word to those on the inside. So it's bars, rap bars for those who's behind bars. So it's bars for bars. Like free up, stay woke, type of stuff, situation. So over to Jason Fresh, Hope in the Six, Bars for Bars.
What's going on, everybody? This is Jason, part of the Hope team out here in the streets. And right now I'm here with the last Prince of Rap.
Yo, I bring physical facts and digital that. These mystical tracks will build a spiritual shack where spirits attack. Fear it when you hear it. Ritual prax must be habitual black. He's safe when your visual hacks into the realm of invisible acts. A simple relax. It's my breathe and vision you rap. Shifting to black, the prison dispatch. Callers wait, listen to snaps. Breathe and be nimble with raps. That's a reason why my lyrics adapt to one-dimensional laps. To wisdom is stacked in the act next to the hat. Civil with blacks, that's civil with facts. Who sizzle gas, pulling pistols to scrap. In the streets, kept rigid from claps. Is beef original crap? Man, please, release the statistical facts and read. Indeed, he was missing from class. The system is whack. The black man is missing his path. Slavery exists not because the prison is packed. We a slave to the state. Check your history, cats. Peace.
That was awesome. Shout out to the last rap, Prince. That was awesome. You know, the bars. I want to actually open up this moment to just express to the viewers. Anybody's out there that's an artist and want to like give bars for bars or give a conscious lyrics to tell an inmate to stay woke or something about free up or whatever, something inspirational or inspiring they want to say, they could hit me on Instagram at The Dying Thief and give me a DM saying, hey, listen, I want to contribute, you know, because this, like I said, this platform is for everybody. Hope in the Six, so we're all in this together. But I'm going to leave you now to give the floor to you to now tell everybody how can they get in touch with you or your services or what are your websites. So just let us know what's your website and stuff like that.
So directyourlife.org. If you're interested in learning about the I guess you could say the struggles, the challenges that people in conflict with the law face, you could connect with us. If you're interested in mentoring, actually stepping up, learning how you can support these guys, how you can help, how you can support your community, you could go to our website, directyourlife.org, go to join us, and just go from there. We just recently completed our first community advisor training program. So these are community members who just wanted to take the initiative and help. Direct Your Life is a platform for anyone in the community who wants to help, even if you have lived experience or don't have any experience at all. It's Direct Your Life, like I said, it's a community. It's a not-for-profit for the community. It's not mine. It's not the people in conflict with the laws. This is something that's for everyone, and at any time, anyone can sign up and make a difference.
Cool. Thanks for being a guest.
Thanks so much for having me.
This is Hope in the Six. What you do is Hope in the Six. Yes. Appreciate it, man. God bless you. Keep up the good work. Thank you for tuning in. This is Hope in the Six. Direct Your Life, Mr. Shola, Eddie Martinez, a.k.a. The Dying Thief. God bless you. Thank you for watching.
I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. I'm gonna be okay. I will fear no evil, that will my rod and my staff. I'm gonna be okay. Thou preparest a table before me in front of my enemies. I'm gonna be okay. Thou anointed my head with oil, and my cup runneth over. All on my shoulder, I'm a soldier, thought I told you. Run with Jehovah, so nobody can test. Every day of my life, I'm blessed. Yes.